I didn't go into an absolute autistic level deep dive on a specific subject for a while, so today is the day, and we're talking about the best weapons in Stalker Gamma. I mean, we're gonna talk about much more than this, but that's the idea. This is not gonna be a silly vibe-based tier list or anything like that. Today we're doing science, at least we're gonna try. We're going deep into the game files, the damage and armor formulas, we're gonna crunch some serious numbers and do a lot of live testing. But first, if we want to find out what are the best weapons, we're gonna have to define what best means and what weapon means. Yes, we're going that deep. Let's define weapon first. It's important because the damage you're doing in Gamma is mostly decided by the ammo you're using, then the armor of the enemy, and your weapon will decide around 20% of what's left. I know this sounds like a hot take, but that's the reason why an enemy will tank big caliber sniper rounds to the head if they're the wrong kind of ammo, but melt to small caliber rounds if they're the right kind. This damage number on your weapon stats has very little influence and gets drowned into a much more complicated hidden damage formula that we're gonna dissect and analyze later in the video. You really have to see weapons more as a platform, with a couple important stats like fire rate and max size, the attachments they can take, but when we say best weapon, right away you have to understand best ballistic combo of weapon, ammo, and the type of enemy you're facing. You can't escape this love triangle with the way damage is calculated in the game. And then we have to define best too, because Gamma is more of a survival, looter, crafting game than a straight-up shooter. So at what stage of the game you are, the money you have, the crafting materials, the repair toolkits, the trader supply, to even the drop chance of every single weapon, because saying that this random particular gun is the best, but only has 0.5% chance to drop on an already rare type of enemy is very, very important context. All of these factors enter into the equation of what would define the best and most efficient weapon to use. And the point of this video is not going to be, oh, there's no best weapon, everything is relative. I mean, yes, it's kinda true in a way, but there are some clear outliers, weapons and ammo combo that are way more efficient and performing much better than others in a lot of situations, and that's the one we're going for. I went through the 5 stages of grief for this video. Actually, it was more 7 stages. I wanted to do a simple video to talk about the cool guns I enjoy in the game. Then I checked all the Discord documentation to make sure I was still understanding how Gamma damage works properly. Then I started cross-checking all the information directly from the game files to make sure I was getting the big picture correctly, because there's a lot of hidden formulas in the damage calculations that are never really talked about. This turned into writing a full report on every single ballistic mechanic and how they work and interact with each other, because it's a ton of information to process and I wanted to make sure I understood exactly everything. Then I realized that every spreadsheet you can find on the Discord is either inaccurate, incomplete, or outdated, very often all three at the same time, and more importantly, everything is so confusing. So because I was getting deep into the subject already, I decided to make my first serious mod ever to be able to track in real time all this information in the game and have detailed reports on how every single data point is performing, followed with dozens of hours of trying every single weapon and different ammo combination against all type of enemies to build a good and reliable database I can use, to fine-tuning the mod to be able to tell you in real time the weapon you're using right now is really good, or you should switch to something else because you can do better, to finally at the end of all this interpret all the data and be able to say, all factors considered, on average, these are the best weapons in Gamma. Oh, and I made a webpage summarizing everything nicely because at this point, why not? My wife is leaving me anyways because I spent all my free time these past months working on this. I'm so deep already, at least we have a nice way to see and visualize all the data. Which is the whole point of all this. Clear, easy information to access, and fuck everything gated behind Discord channels as always. There will be some information at the end of the video on how to help me make all of this better and more accurate using the mod to gather more data, so stick around if you're interested. So yeah, as you can see, I didn't lie when I said we're going on a deep dive today. This is gonna be a long video, but strap on, because even for people like me who have thousands of hours in the game, I was shocked at how much I was wrong about some of the game mechanics or how biased my opinion was towards certain weapons or ammo types. So from beginners that want to fully understand how ballistics work in the game to experienced players wanting actual real data to say, I told you so, this weapon is the best, and here's the proof. We are going to cover a lot of things, and I can guarantee you this is going to make you much better and much more efficient at playing the game. Let's go. We need a little crash course before we get started to make sure we are all on the same page and everyone understands the core ballistic system in Gamma, because everything we're going to talk about next assumes you understand this already. So let's go over it quickly. The most important stat in the game, the king of all, is armor penetration. And armor penetration depends on the ammo you're using and the armor the enemy is wearing. That's one of the reasons why the weapon itself is more of a platform that has some useful stats, sure, we'll go over them later, but has little to do with the actual damage you're inflicting. Let's take Johnny Beefcake here, and to prove my point, I'm gonna use one of the very endgame best shotguns that are available. Johnny is wearing an exoskeleton, which, as you know, has a very high armor value. If I shoot him with buckshot, for example, a type of ammo that has 0 armor penetration, as you can see, basically every shot is getting blocked by the armor, I'm not doing any damage, and Johnny feels pretty much invincible. This is not a bug, this is by design. Now, if we switch to slugs, that technically are still not enough to penetrate Johnny's armor, but at least have a little bit of penetration, there's this new mechanic that comes into play, the armor breaking system. If we shoot Johnny multiple times in the same spot, that's important, at some point we are going to break his armor. Here it took around 7 shots, and after the armor is broken, we're gonna do full damage. Every body part has its own armor value, so if you break the torso armor and then switch to one of the arms, for example, it won't penetrate. You have to break the armor for this part again. Every limb works independently. And the more AP your ammo has, the faster you break the armor. If we switch to AP slugs that have much better penetration than regular slugs, you can see we're breaking the armor and killing Johnny even faster, in around 5 shots instead of the 7 before. We still have to break the armor because even AP slugs are not strong enough to penetrate an exoskeleton on the first try, but if we take an extreme example with the Ghost Rifle, for example, that has pretty much infinite penetration, here there's no need to break the armor. You can see the shot penetrates fully and kills him instantly. You really have to see armor pen as a gate that decides if your damage can come in or not. If you have a higher number than the gate, you can come in. If not, you're gonna have to knock a couple times. And if your AP number is too low, the gate is pretty much never gonna open. And that's why AP is the most important stat. I said before that I wrote a full guide on the ballistic system. I actually made it into a web page for easier visualization. Most people won't be interested in this, that's going way too deep, but if you want to see the actual formulas and how everything is calculated, it will be with everything else in the video description. For mutants or NPCs that have light to no armor, it's like the gate is always open. So here you can focus on ammo that has very high raw damage, and that's going to be all the hollow points HP variants. They're gonna melt everything because there's nothing to stop them, and they have very high base damage. But be careful, because as soon as NPCs start having a little bit of resistances, the damage penalty is huge, and we go back to most of your damage getting blocked. All the full metal jacket variants are the perfect in between. Decent armor pen, decent damage, not the best in any category, but the most flexible and general all-rounder that you can use in every situation. So armor penetration is at the top of the damage tree, but there's still a lot of other factors that decide how much damage you can do. This is gonna be a rough approximation because the actual math is a bit more complicated and it will change depending on like small weapon to like heavy caliber weapon, but overall what will have the bigger impact on the damage you do, from most important to least, is the body part you hit. A headshot, for example, will do 4 times more damage than a torso shot and 12 times more than a leg shot. This is by far the biggest damage multiplier you can get. It means skill and having a good aim is rewarded and makes a big difference, which is good. That's what we want. Then the ammo, again, not for the armor pen this time, but for its actual damage multiplier, the raw damage of the ammo, if you will. Then it's the weapon base power. Not this number here, again, but what's hiding behind it. It's still very meaningful, of course, because it's at the base of the whole damage calculation, but it's just one little factor outweighed by many others. Then it's gonna be the barrel condition of your gun. At 50% condition, you're doing 30% less damage, and below 25%, it drops so hard you might as well throw the gun away. Then it's gonna be distance. All the ammo types start losing damage as soon as they leave the barrel of your gun, and some types much faster than others. And last is the silencer boost. All silence weapons have a 7% damage and AP boost, which is actually really good, and it's free. If you use a silencer on any weapon, it immediately becomes better. There's some other factors like specific faction resistances, but we covered all the important stuff. And we're done with this crash course. So now when we start comparing weapons and ammo and talk about all these different values, you know what we're talking about. And more importantly, you can see how important they are in the damage tree. You remember in the intro when I said we need to define what best means and what weapon means? What we did so far is define weapon, so now we need to define best. It's not gonna take long, don't worry, because understanding exactly how the damage calculation works is important, yes, but it's only half of the question. We're still missing a crucial element that's hard to quantify, and that's efficiency. We're playing a survival game, good resource management is extremely important, especially early and mid-game, so how efficient a weapon is absolutely crucial. Without efficiency, every answer to what's the best weapon would be grenade launcher for mutants and ghost rifle for NPCs. You can see that without context, all the data in the world won't mean anything. And the issue is that efficiency is hard to quantify. It's somewhere in between the raw power of the weapon, the cost and availability of the ammo, the stage of the game you are and enemies you are facing, to your skill and gameplay style in general, and it's only through gameplay that all of these numbers really come to life. So I needed a way to quantify how weapons were performing in actual gameplay, not just on paper, because there's a lot of weapons, a lot of them are very similar, and I needed something to catch all the little nuances. So we arrive at the part where I decided to make my first mod ever to track all this data. Cheeki made this mod without any previous modding experience. Turns out modding for Gamma is really hard. Cheeki is very shy and doesn't like to talk to people. Asking other modders for some help would have made his life much easier, but no, he decided to do everything by himself until almost losing his mind. Cheeki thinks his mod is reading the right data and damage. When he goes to this calculator, he's getting more or less the same values, which make Cheeki feels good, but who knows? This whole thing might be based on wrong assumptions that would be bad, and this keeps Cheeki awake at night. Cheeki will leave the mod in the video description if you want to try it out, and we will discuss at the end of the video how you can help me get better data and build an even better tool. You are free to do whatever you want with the mod, distribute it, modify it, burn it, use it in other projects. Cheeki thinks it's probably wiser to build it back from scratch if you like the idea, because it's a giant tangle of wires that by some miracles seems to be working, but you're free to do whatever you want with it. Okay, back to the video. So here's how the mod works. I'm going to explain everything it shows, but it's fully modular and you can turn off any stat you're not interested in. First, you have the live hit counter, so every time you shoot an enemy, it's going to show you how much HP the enemy lost, how much damage you did, which is always the same as the HP lost, except for the last shot. Because let's say you shoot an enemy a couple times and he only has 5 HP left, and you ghost rifle him in the head. The health delta will only show you 5 HP lost, which is accurate. There was only 5 HP left to lose in his health pool, but here the damage will tell you, actually you did that much damage, and that shit was a bit overkill. And that's the overkill we're tracking a bit further down. It's a very interesting stat to have, because if you're using very expensive ammo, having a high overkill means you're being wasteful. You're doing too much damage that's not necessary for the targets you're killing. And the opposite is true if you're using really cheap ammo. high overkill with cheap ammo means you're really punching above your weight, and you're using the perfect weapon and ammo combo in whatever situation you're currently in. Distance, body part, did your shot get blocked by armor or not, accuracy, and time to kill for that specific target. All of the other stats are pretty easy to read. Next block is some basic info. It was more for me when keeping track of everything while doing the video. Enemy type, armor class, weapon and ammo you're using. Faction bonus shows you if the enemy has special resistances, like the 70% damage resistance of the Sin faction, or the damage and AP resistance of Monolith or ISG. The barrel condition of your gun, with how much damage you're losing if it's damage, how much damage you're losing with distance, which, if I'm reading and calculating the data correctly, it's actually much more than I thought. And the kill cost, so number of bullets to kill that target times the price of the bullet. All the prices in the mod are the prices at the traders to keep things easy. Butcher will have much better prices for some type of ammo, some trades you can do at Yentar are really good too, and as soon as you get the gunsmithing tools, a lot of ammo gets really interesting to buy, disassemble and craft into better ammo, making the price lower. I'm not going to have the time to go deep into this in the video, but I made a guide for this too on the website, along all the weapon rankings and everything, that tells you what's the best ammo crafting path, so you can go check this out. Next is the session statistics, and that's what I based a lot of this video and the ranking on. This is like very important to understand. That's all this information about efficiency I've been rambling about. For example, I would do the whole radar run multiple times with different weapons and ammo combos, or kill 50 of the same enemy type and write down the results. This here is a goldmine of how much you and your weapon is performing. All your shots and where they hit, number of kills, average accuracy, time to kill, how much HP and damage you do per hit on average, which is gonna be the overkill we talked about before, average number of hits to kill a target, and in the end how much it costs you to kill all these enemies for every bullet that hit the target and for every bullet shot in total, because this difference for some weapons is really meaningful. I'm going to give you a real example to take a break from all these numbers. Take the Chris Vector, considered by many one of the best mutant killers outside of shotguns, with the powerful .45 Hydra Shock ammo and the crazy fire rate. It feels absolutely amazing when you melt everything pretty much instantly. Then you look at these numbers after killing a few mutants and you're like, wait, what? How am I missing all these shots and why is it costing me so much? And then you realize that the Vector is so good and so fast that even if you don't count simply missing the target, which will cost you thousands for every half second you're off target, but let's assume you have perfect aim. Even in that scenario, the time your brain realizes that the mutant is dead and you release the trigger, there's already 5 to 8 bullets in the air that will just hit the ground and gets wasted. And if you try to compensate and anticipate the mutant death to stop shooting exactly at the right time, not to be wasteful, that's what I did after realizing this. Well, you end up overdoing it pretty often and start not killing mutants in one single burst anymore, then your TTK completely tanks and you ask yourself, why am I even using the Vector in that case? So is it the best gun in its category? On paper, yes, definitely. If you are rich to the point of burning ammo for fun, sure. Or at least if you can mag dump the whole thing into a single enemy, so nothing gets wasted. But outside of these two cases, then no. Actually, if I gave you a Vector converted to 9x19 without saying anything, if we exclude pseudo-giant kills because these work a bit different with specific ammo multipliers, looking at the average time to kill and hits to kill, 95% of you wouldn't feel a difference, and you would save around 20% on ammo price, and you would have access to cheap AP rounds to melt even armored Stalkers in CQB, that you don't have access to in .45, there's no AP for that round. In that example, the Vector is a D-tier late-game weapon, so you should not really care about burning ammo at this point of the game, but it's still very interesting and insightful information we can extrapolate on. So that's the type of analysis you can start doing when having all these numbers. Is it going too far? Yeah, probably. The whole time I was making this video, I was thinking about all these guys doing knife-only Iron Man runs. If you haven't seen this shit, you should. It really puts things into perspective. How everything we're doing here is more for fun and not that important anyway. But when people ask me what I do for fun on my free time, that's what I do. Since my wife left me, I don't have much to do anyways. I'm kidding, she's still here. This video better do good so I can take her to dinner for all the free time I spend doing this shit. Okay, let's keep going. There's a last section in the mod that basically tries to interpret all this data and tell you in real time if you're using the correct weapon for the enemies you're killing. It's in a very experimental stage. It's more for fun than actual accurate information. It could become very good with more data and some tweaking. More details again at the end of the video. Anyways, now we're ready to start comparing weapons. Finally, we learn how ballistic works, we define what best means, what weapon means, we have a tool to track everything in details. It's time to figure out what are the best weapons in the game. Let's start with Mutants. For each gun and ammo type, I did 25 solo giant kills, 25 strong camera kills, 25 double regular camera fights. It's a good way to create a real situation where you have to run around, dodge, miss shots, do a couple reloads, give weapons time to jam from time to time. A lot of things start to really reveal themselves in situations like this. And to finish, what I would call control groups, so just running around, killing tons of fleshes, dogs and so on. So around 150 kills of a bit of everything per weapon. Could be better, could be worse. I've been spending a week straight killing mutants and NPCs and putting the numbers the mod gives me in a chart, so I will say it's enough for now. Every weapon that can have a silencer was equipped with one because it's free extra damage. Being able to be silenced is a huge perk and should be taken into account, especially when comparing very similar weapons. Barrel in perfect condition for everything, obviously. Let's jump straight to the page I built because that's where you will find all the information, and we'll go over all the details together because there's some important context. So that's all the weapons I tested so far for Mutants. Stalker killers are coming next. I tried to stick to the most popular ones. If the results you see on the page are different than the video, it's normal, it just means I'm getting more data and fine-tuning the rankings. You will find 3 categories: best, cheapest and balance. They're all pretty self-explanatory. Best is what kills enemies the fastest, it's what has the most DPS, regardless of everything else. Cheapest will be the opposite. Here we look purely at how much it cost to kill an enemy, to know what's the best bang for your buck. And the last and most important one, to be fair, is the balance category. It's the perfect mix between DPS and cost to operate. It's the true efficiency of a weapon. You can choose which repair kit is required for the weapons in the rankings, so turning off D will remove all the late game stuff, C is more for mid game, A and B what's available early game, and only A will be the super early game. I also recommend turning off the pseudo giant data when comparing weapons for the early game because you won't be fighting them, and because they use a different damage multiplier calculation for the ammo, it kind of skews the data in an unfair way for smaller calibers. In the best category, the Groza using the grenade launcher is in the first place right now. This is only for the video because I'm still testing things, it will not be on the final website, and I'm gonna use this as an example because it's gonna explain how I did these rankings pretty much. It's going to be a controversial take, but I don't care, I have the data to back it up now. I never liked grenade launchers on weapons, I always found them overrated, slow to use, expensive, and a real liability if you miss a shot. But every time you talk about best weapons in the game, you have people coming out of the woodwork telling you how dumb you are if you're not using grenade launchers. So after a lot of testing, here are the results. Yes, they're the best if, and it's a giant if, you never miss a shot. All your grenades are right on target and do full damage. And for these rankings in particular, we also assume that you also use grenades to kill small mutants like dogs and fleshes, because technically that's the fastest way to do it, and we don't care about money or availability here. With these 3 extremely unrealistic conditions, and I think that's what people have in their minds when they argue that grenade launchers are so good, they're the first place, sure, for most DPS. In the cheapest category, they're dead last, and in the balance category, which in the end is the most meaningful one, they're like 10th place, so nothing really impressive, especially because we're still assuming perfect aim and everything. What you will find in the final website is this, a much more realistic entry that still assumes you don't miss any shot, which is very, very generous, but 1 out of 5 grenades is not right on target and does not full damage, which again is very generous. In practice, after a lot of testing, it's more like 1 in 3 grenades that don't do full damage. And you kill small mutants with HP rounds now, not grenades. With that much more realistic scenario that actually takes into account gameplay and not people's fantasies of having perfect aim all the time and no reload times, yeah, actually grenade launchers are not that great. They're still very good, still useful in a ton of situations, but definitely not this end-all be-all you hear about, which is what you want, to be fair. They're pretty balanced and it's a good thing, they're just not overpowered. With that little rant out of the way, it's not a surprise that high damage, high fire rate, decent recoil with huge magazine machine guns win, followed closely by automatic shotguns. In terms of pure DPS, they're hard to beat. This best and fastest category of rankings is what you're gonna use late game when you're so rich money and resources don't matter anymore. When we move to the cheapest category, all the big machine guns and assault rifles are gone because their ammo is very expensive and you burn a lot of it, and you can see how shotguns dominate the rankings because they're very cheap to use. And we also start seeing some smaller calibers being more meaningful. That's the category for the early game, when you're in full hobo stage or trying to save as much money as you can to get better gear faster. And then we have the balanced category, the best of both worlds, which leans more towards true efficiency, the perfect balance between power, cost to operate, and actual real gameplay, so the one you should use in the end, to be fair. My advice is to start with this category and adapt the findings to your own gameplay or what you like to do. If you love shotguns, good. As you can see, they are by far the best mutant killers. So much work for a conclusion that everybody knew already, alright? Actually, that's how you should use this chart. If you love shotguns, great, use these ones. If you don't like shotguns because you play Iron Man and don't want to fight mutants at close range, then the Deer Hunter is best. But you don't like the idea of having a very low fire rate sniper as a mutant killer, then next would be the RPK-16. Oh, you're still early game and can't find or repair that gun yet, so that would be the PPSH or the Thompsons that are best. Oh, they don't have good optics and I want weapons with good optics. Okay, then it's gonna be like the Bison. That's actually how you're gonna use this chart. It lets you decide through the lens of what you like and how you play what's gonna be the best for you, and I think that's why they're useful. But this is just the beginning and we're gonna move to much more complicated things with the best Stalker killers. So the ranking page for best weapons against other Stalkers works pretty much the same as the Mutants page, there's just much more information, options and customization. Mutants are pretty easy because they don't have any armor. With Stalkers, the easiest way I can explain it is that all the data we collect through the mod has much more noise built into it. From gameplay, weapon performance, kill distance, your skill and accuracy, missing shots, enemy behavior, and so many different factors. So the formula to rank the weapons in a meaningful way is much more complicated and takes into account a lot more factors than the Mutants one. If you want to get nerdy, I left all the details behind it at the bottom of the page for full transparency on how everything is calculated. If you think there's a better way, please read everything carefully and let me know. In the end, I believe it's going to be a really reliable and good resource to see which weapons perform much better than others, but right now, because it's only me providing that data from my gameplay, all the rankings needs to be taken with a big grain of salt. That's why a lot of entries have the low data warning. I didn't get enough kills yet for every armor type with that specific weapon and ammo combo for the information to be reliable. We can see some trends already, but it needs much more kills. At the time of recording the video, I started with mostly close-range weapons, so that's what we're going to talk about, but by the time the video is out, there will be much more weapons. So, same as the previous page, you can order weapons by toolkits, you can remove the heaviest armors from the calculation, so you have much more reliable results if you compare early and mid-games weapons, and you can also pick the factions taken into account in the data. Regular is every faction that doesn't have any specific properties, so duty, freedom, loners, and so on. Monolith and ISG have extra damage and AP resistances, and Sin have a giant overall damage resistance. That's why I separated them, because they don't behave like regular factions. I'm having Sin turned off by default right now because I don't have enough kills against them, so they will poison all the results with their high resistances. But with enough data, it will become a really good way to see which weapons are actually really good against them. So that's it, you know how everything works. As I said, I'm only done with close range weapons right now. You can see the Vector in 9x19 absolutely dominates everything in pure performance, with P90 and MP7 really close behind. I've always been a huge fan of the P90. It's only a C repair kit, so you can use it much sooner than the Vector, and you can equip it in your pistol slot too. So I'm happy to see it performing so well. I will keep using it a lot, that's good news. I also always loved the Veresk, always found it really good but really expensive to operate with the unique type of ammo it's using. And you can see it's exactly what we find in the rankings. It's very close to be top 3, and actually top 3 if you remove the D repair kits, but if we go to the balance category, it completely tanks because there's much more efficient and cheaper options. I'm not going to do too much analysis right now, this will be for a further video when we have much more weapons in there, but you can see how everything will get really interesting to compare when we have reliable info. And go check the website again, when you're watching this it will have much more in it already. Okay, so let's jump straight to the future of this project and what you can do to help. I have 3 goals I want to work on to consider this project not done, but in a satisfying place. First, I want to include a lot more information into the rankings calculations, weapons, reloading times, max size, the drop rarity. I need to figure out how to get this from the game files in a reliable way. I also want a more granular way to filter everything with ammo type, maybe attachments, we'll see. This is gonna be a ton of work and I'm tired of digging inside the gamma files right now. Never sure if I'm looking at the right thing, but this will come. Then I want to include the effective distance of each weapon and where they perform best, so each page will have the option to show you the best performers, close range, mid-range and long range. And last, I just want more reliable results, so I need more kill data, a lot more to finalize the rankings and really fine-tune everything, so we know the information is truly reliable. Right now I'm at, let me check, a bit over 1000 kills. It needs at least 50 times that, and that's where you can help. First, you have to use the mod, obviously, get it from the description, drop it at the end of your gamma mod list. I've been playing with it for a while now, it's been working fine, but if you have any issues, just let me know. If you don't want anything to display when you're playing because you're not interested in any of that information, it's perfectly fine, just turn off everything except the last section in mod configuration menu, and the mod will simply run in the background collecting all your kill statistics but not displaying anything. I couldn't figure how to dump all the data we're collecting into a log or text file only for the mod, but I found a workaround by printing the data into the regular game logs. You don't have anything to do, everything is automatic. There might be better ways to do it. Again, that's my first mod ever, and turns out modding gamma is a nightmare, but that's the best I could find so far. So if you're a modder, please don't judge me. Technically, the kill data only prints in logs on level change or death, which is very annoying because if you crash or if you load a save, all the kills you just did get lost. So I added an automatic printing feature every minute or so that mostly solves the problem, and you can still print manually to record all your kills in that session with a keybind if you want before you quit the game or load a save, but it's not absolutely necessary. It was more for me for testing purposes. I'm sorry, I'm making this too complicated. Technically, on your end, if you're running the mod already, the only thing you have to do is play. And when you're done playing and close the game, you go to your logs folder, which will be in your anomaly folder, and simply rename the last log or move it somewhere else, because it will get overwritten the next time you start the game. You do that quickly every time you're done playing. After a couple gaming sessions, you should have collected a handful of them. They're pretty big, and 99% of the content inside we don't care about. The actual data is just hidden inside them. So I built a tool to collect only what we are interested into. do, I'll leave the link in the description with everything else. You just drag and drop all your logs into it, extract the data, it will give you 2 clean files, one with all your mutant kills and one with all your Stalker kills. Ignore this part of the website, it's for future part of the project. I have some really cool stuff cooking for later, but this video is long enough already, don't get me started. So after you extracted all your files, you just send them to me. Even if you converted a ton of logs, it's going to be a very small file in the end. My email is on the website and on the YouTube contacts. This way I can add your data to the rankings. And that's it. Play with the mod, send me your logs, and the more people do that, the more we can fine-tune everything and have much more accurate rankings for all weapons. You know what? I might make an extra page ranking everybody who sent me their kill data, so we can keep track of the biggest players in a way. That could be a fun way to say thank you and credit everybody who participates in the project. So when you send me your logs, tell me the name you want to be listed as in the rankings actually. I'm actually really curious because even with my limited data so far, we can already see some interesting trends shaping up, so who knows, and it will help build the definitive best weapons in the game tier list. So please, if you're interested in that very nerdy, completely over-engineered project that's been consuming my life these past months, just send me your data, that's all I'm asking. Hopefully the big armor update coming soon will not change and break too many things in that aspect, we'll see. This is by far the biggest project I've done for the channel, so if you watched till the end, thank you. I'm gonna go spend time with my wife now and wait for your logs, or bug reports that the mod is not working, or real modders telling me the data I'm collecting is wrong. It's okay, we'll figure it out. I'm just a bit scared. Okay, cheers.